Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 216, recorded on Friday, September 16th, 2022. Then again, campaign swallows are non-migratory. Thank you for that, Greg. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
I'm Tyler Colt, and before we get on into the show, we do want to remind you that this episode and all episodes are produced by Podcaster Zen, which is essentially us, but wearing different t-shirts. So let's roll our fun little thingy on that now.
Are you looking into starting a podcast? Or maybe just need some help putting it all together so you could focus on your voice telling your story? Introducing Podcaster Zen. From audio podcasts to video to live streaming a show, we do it all. Head over to podcasterzen.com for more info on how we can help you share your message with the world.
Hey, Freddie, nice music, man. Wow, Tyler, what a week. As you know, Tyler, it was crazy. So, we did that show. Was that Thursday morning?
Thursday morning. Yeah, it would have been Thursday, right before the drive.
We did the show Thursday morning, and we were doing our offsite. Josh was driving his 9-hour drive down from San Francisco into Temecula. We left out of here. We were about 20 minutes away from the hotel. Josh was 10 minutes when we got a notification that all of wine country was being evacuated. Mandatory evacuations due to fire. Hotel was closed. So, wow, we ended up pivoting, going to San Diego, had a great dinner, worked all day Friday, did our offsite, and we had managed to regroup in Temecula on Saturday. So we kind of had to cobble a bunch of things back together, but it ended up being a good working session, and it was good. So, but crazy.
Yeah, I think we packed and unpacked every day except for maybe Sunday. The only day that we didn't either pack or unpack all of our stuff. So
yeah, we stayed in a hotel
to get together.
Hotel Thursday night in downtown San Diego, which sadly enough has become basically just one big homeless tent. And so we then left there and went to the beach. Got a nice little place where we thought, oh, this will be great. And it was supposed to be a 3-bedroom place, but it was 2. And you drew the short straw and slept on the couch bed. And then basically we had to put you in physical therapy for a couple of days so you could walk again after sleeping on that thing. So anyway, thank God that all worked out at the end of the day. All right. And with that, before we get to our events, we've got a little bit of a PSA. Or actually, we're going to do events, Freddie. Let's do events. Threw Freddie off there. Trying to keep you on your toes there, Freddie. Hey, as always, as always, if you want to know what's going on in the world of Zoho, then you need look no further than over at zenatta.com/events, where we keep track of every single event that is going on. Coming up here in September, next Tuesday, it says on here that Brett and Tyler are going to give an entire thing on Zoho Learn. That is not true. Greg and Josh are going to do an entire presentation on Zoho Learn, since they are using it on a daily basis. And they're going to kind of step you guys through Zoho Learn, what it's all about, why you should have it, why you shouldn't. Anyway. And then Zoholics is rolling on through Italy and Spain and the Netherlands and on and on and on. And then the Indian ones are coming up. Anyway, all the stuff is here. If you want to check out Zoho events, please head over to zenatta.com events. And over at zenatta.com is where you'll find all of our resources, as well as if you want to check out back episodes of the CRM Zen Show, you can do that as well. We have our blog. Everything you might want to find relating to Zoho all lives over there. So please stop by and pay us a visit. And with that, let's get to our PSA. Okay, Tyler, what do we got here? So basically, was it December or January?
I think January. Very early this year, late last year, yeah.
Yeah, so Zoho has instituted a whole new sync between CRM and Zoho campaigns, which really is very good. It's changes, it
Huge
fixes a lot of
improvement. Yeah, it's a huge
it.
improvement to the platform.
But when they rolled it out, it was causing a whole bunch of server bandwidth issues, and they had to stop it. I think after like a week, and then they kind of rolled it back out. I guess what, a month ago, 6 weeks, 8 weeks
A little
ago,
longer, maybe 2 months. This year has
2 months.
flown by. It might even be 3 months.
I know. And now they're saying, hey guys, everybody's got to get there, and you need to do it by September 30th. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Because this is an interesting. It says the last day to migrate is September 30th. But if you don't want to, you can click a button and put it off till October 31st. So, but then they say, we assure you that at no point will you be forced to migrate. So I'm not sure what that means. Are they going to push it off till October 31st, or are they just going to let you forever? I don't think, who knows what's happening here. Bottom line is, you should migrate, do migrate. There's no reason not to migrate.
Yeah.
Would you say there
A
is?
couple things just to be aware of when you do the migration is that you will need to set up topic management, or people will not be able to receive emails. You can actually check our YouTube channel. We have a couple different videos on how to actually automate associating things with topics. The system also becomes a lot more driven by segments than mailing lists. So you want to take a look at what you got and make sure that you're able to recreate any of that functionality. Again, we do have a couple different videos if you search for campaigns on our YouTube channel that kind of walk through a lot of these different elements. But once you're over the hump and you have it migrated, it's much better, right? The instant syncs come through, field updates come over a lot easier, which is a big deal for segment management. So you want to get this done. It's not like they're forcing you to ruin your system. It's just that they need you to get it done. And once you're over that hump, I think you'll be happy with how it works.
Yep. All righty. And with that, let's get on to our latest news.
I think we're there now. I think that transition ran.
It was a PSA. Normally we do the news. I think we've messed everything up with this. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I put
Alrighty.
the PSA in the news.
All righty. We're going to dive right in here. So over on the Zoho blog, Zoho Social has now announced TikTok and Instagram Reels and Stories and YouTube Shorts. So basically, everybody who ripped off TikTok, which is Instagram Reels, Stories, and YouTube Shorts, they are all now supported inside of Zoho Social. So, this is an app that gets just a whole bunch of updates to it, and I like it. If you haven't used Zoho Social, very similar to Hootsuite, allows you to collaborate on your social media posts, allows you to schedule out your social media posts. You can integrate, you can create several different brands. So, for us, we actually have a brand for the CRM Zen Show, a brand for Zenatta, a brand for Podcaster Zen. You've got the different channels. You can manage all of those channels, manage all your blog posts. So it's a great application, and they've done some super nice stuff here. And I think supporting this seems to be the biggest trend in social. There's these little 60-second videos. Yeah, that drive me crazy. I find them useless. But they're big, man. It's what the kids are doing, Tyler.
The youth.
It's what the youth.
The
youth.
Yeah, I mean, I think though, especially if you're doing B2C like e-commerce or product sales, like you should probably consider advertising on some of these platforms, or at least posting content regularly. It does work, right? It gets in front of a huge amount of people. Obviously, B2B kind of depends where your space is. Like, I don't think we would get a lot of traction on TikTok. Maybe some type of B2B sales might. Interesting thing for me though is that they're actually pushing a lot of data with this. If you're uploading, a 60-second video and they're just letting you push it right over via API to any of these platforms, it's normally Zoho's API can have a little bit of an issue with larger files, but it seems like they've worked it out for this use case here.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So anyway, if you are marketing to the lemmings who sit on their couch all day long watching 60-second TikTok videos, then this is for you. So go for it. And moving on with the news.
Watch 60-minute TV shows instead.
That's true. What am I saying? Someone I know said you got to watch Suits. It's 120 episodes, and we're burning. It just, yeah, you're right. None of it's good. Who am I to judge? All right. Also from the Zoho blog, they actually did. If you go to the community, there are basically half a dozen more posts that basically this sums them up. If you're unaware, iOS 16 was launched this week. That is the latest operating system for iPhone. And every time there is a new operating system for iPhone, Zoho does an exceptionally good job of adopting a lot of the really cool new features that are
Yeah.
part of that new iOS. You don't really hear about this with Android too much, but you get this with iOS a lot. So just a whole bunch of stuff: passkeys, focus filters, live text, and more for Zoho One-Auth. If you're unfamiliar, Zoho One-Auth is their two-factor authentication application. I actually love it. It's a really, really nice application. Use it for everything. Supported on the watch. Anyway, so they're supporting those new things. Sign in made easy with quick notes, lock screen widgets, document scanner. Just read the article. They've got a really nice video here as well that they've posted up. About Zoho Sign for iOS and all of the different basically all of the different features that were rolled out. And every time Apple releases one of these things, there's at least 30 or 40 significant little features that normally slip through the cracks. This is a major update though, because they've changed the entire home screen. They've changed notifications. Apple's kind of reimagined. It's very Android-like at this point in time, what you're able to do. You could never do this before. With Android, you've always been able to customize your home screen and do these kind of things, add these widgets in. Now you've got a lot of cool stuff you can do with lock screen widgets and the rest, and Zoho is supporting them all.
And I've always kind of been impressed with how quickly Zoho rolls out all these updates following the update to iOS. I mean, it's generally within like a week, right? Most of these big Zoho mobile applications get updates to now take advantage of that. I mean, I remember when they first put out widgets and it was like a week later, every app has widgets now that you can turn on your phone. Or when they
Right.
rolled out like the PDF scanning or the OCR a while back, all of a sudden, all these different Zoho apps can now tap into that because Apple rolled it out. So, big kudos to Zoho in general. I think most of their teams are just super on top of kind of using whatever new operating system functionality is available to maximize what you can do with the mobile apps.
Absolutely. Good job, mobile team. And moving on with the news here, Zoho Analytics rolled out a bunch of features. And Tyler, this is the rundown of them. The big one seems to be you've got advanced analytics for Zoho Commerce. And if you don't know, Zoho Commerce is Zoho's version of Shopify. Allows you to build a website, sell products and services. It integrates with inventory. And what have they done here with this advanced analytics connector?
Well, you can now pull in all your data, right? So before you really just couldn't do that. So this is the first that they've rolled out for this connector. So you should be able to report on sales by item or kind of relate this into your CRM customer database as well to look at it that way. The next feature, this has actually been in beta for a while. It is the ability to connect to multiple Zoho finance orgs. So if you are running more than one, which you actually can do in your Zoho One account, you can connect more than one of those organizations over to analytics, which is really nice. Kind of creates them as totally discrete data sets, and then you can choose where you want to blend or kind of keep them separate. Looks like
Got it.
last one here, a couple updates for Zoho projects. Let's scroll down just a little more, showing kind of like a pivot table here.
Yeah, yeah.
Task issue mapping, got it. So it's actually something that was missing before is you have tasks and you have issues. An issue might be related to a task, but there was no connection in the data that would let you display a task with all of its issues, right? They didn't have like the task ID or a table that links them. So now they've
You do.
added that, which is a huge one because this is something you would definitely want a report on, right? If you're a manager, you'd want to see that in one table, not have to look at tasks and then bugs, right? You want to see it together. Looks like a little minor update there for Recruit,
Yeah.
adding the referral module. And this is one I actually found on accident, the Time Slicer. I love the name of that. So it's a different way to set up your timeline filters, and it's actually pretty cool. So it's similar to how you have your relatives. Like if you're watching us on video, you can see the little like funnel in the top right there. Gives you the option to choose your like this week, this month, this year.
Yep.
The nice thing about it is they're showing it by year, which I actually think is probably the least useful. If you look at it by month, you could actually just very easily choose an individual month, a couple months, a 5-month period, where the normal way that you'd have to do that before is enter like a start date and an end date for like a custom period, which is just a little more clunky than having the slider. So I actually found this by accident on a call with a client because they were saying it's kind of annoying that I can't just choose June really easily. We turned this thing on and it was the perfect fix. So good name, Time Slicer, and definitely a cool little update there for the timeline filter.
I like it. Time
Really
Slicer
nice.
sounds like a superhero, dude.
Yeah.
Time Slicer to the rescue. I don't know. Anyways, we got more compact column width for tabular reports. So there you go.
Interesting.
And that's it.
I don't see many people using the compact. It's a little too compact, but maybe they're making it a little wider here.
Yep. And I think we got a little more analytics news here. You got, no, I guess not. So we've now introducing data fields into Zoho Show. So Zoho Show is Zoho's version of PowerPoint. And you now can enter values that are going to display variable data. I didn't have time to read this. Where are we pulling the data from?
Yeah, that's kind of the
Do you
question. So you're
know?
adding these data fields, you're defining some of your types, right? And then they can pull in.
Right. But
We keep scrolling down just a little bit, thinking you must be able to pull it in from a data source, but it doesn't really say.
can add
Um,
number of data fields to your slide deck. The data fields can be in text and charts. I'm
Gotta
just
be
trying to figure
something
out.
you could build via API, right? It must
Yeah, but
be.
normally you're like linking to a spreadsheet, right? Or something like that. You've made some sort of link here and you're tying it in. I mean, data fields, putting this into your PowerPoint is pretty cool. So you're not having to go in and manually change your PowerPoint if you're pulling from some other reference point. And it looks here like you are creating your data fields. And
Direct from source. Yeah, so you can do string or numeric.
yeah.
Scroll in here. Now, where do we get them from? It's got to be like you can pull them in via an API connection, like kind of like a mail merge, right?
Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to
Or you've got to fill them in manually for now through some type of UI.
well, that totally defeats the purpose.
Interesting.
All right, so you can build the fields.
Very interesting. Some of these things that come out, doesn't really
Yeah.
say. I would assume at some point in the
All right.
future, if not now, you'll be able to do it kind of like a mail merge, right? Where you're
Yeah.
feeding the data in with the template ID and then it's coming back with the document. So maybe we'll do an update on this one next week if we have a chance to play around with it. Because as a premise, it's
You've
pretty
got to be
cool, right?
pulling.
If you've got like a
Yeah.
pitch deck that's saved and you can enter some data about a client in your CRM, press a magic button, and then it makes this for you. It'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Just got to figure out where they're getting it from.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and then moving on with the news, Zoho Meeting got some pretty cool updates. Zoho Meeting is Zoho's version of Zoom, GoToMeeting, all of those basically online collaboration meeting tools. They usually, when we get these, they're kind of keeping up with the Joneses. They're kind of doing that here. Nice integration with Zoho Flow. You've got a new little webinar UI, which is kind of keeping up. It's really nothing. You can zoom in, zoom out of the screen. You can now pause and resume recording. Everybody else has had that forever. So there's kind of, like I say, catch up here. Custom backgrounds for the first time ever. You can upload your own virtual background, so you don't have to go with kind of the standard ones there, which is super cool. Again, something that every other
Kind of a need
online
to
meeting
have
tool
nowadays.
really has. Right. They've done some basic bug fixes related to editing meetings, invitation emails, some things like that. So nothing much here. Just Zoho Meeting, kind of catching up with everything else. Our thoughts on Zoho Meeting, we make them clear all the time. It's a very good, if you really aren't doing a lot of recording and you don't do just a whole ton of meetings, but you've just got a few, you want to, if you have Zoho One, this is included in Zoho One. It's also included in many of the other bundles. It is a fine application just for basic meetings with just a few people. If meetings are your life, and you live like we do all day long in Zoom meetings, it's not going to work for you. It's too buggy. It's, it glitches, it goes in and out. The recordings aren't very good. But
Yeah, and I think the
you know,
general just bandwidth, like what I always explain to clients, because sometimes we'll have us ask, right, why are we on a Zoom meeting? It's oftentimes
right,
on one of our sales calls. And the way I describe it is basically just that, like, we've got these fancy mics, here at the bottom of my screen, but it kind of just sounds like you're using your headphones to talk through, and they can understand
right.
you. It's clear. It's not like it's going to ruin the meeting or anything. But for us, I mean, we sit in 6, 7 hours of Zooms a day. So it's just got to be, the best option.
Yeah, we have $1,000 4K cameras aimed at us, right? And very, very expensive high LPR 40 microphones. You're right, and they're going through beautiful mixers, and we might as well take advantage of those. So exactly right. All righty, and then moving on with the news. Organizations using the Zoho Project's web application can now not allow any users to use the mobile application. I had to read this. I'm like, why? I don't get it. But if you don't want people who have full access to the desktop app to have access to the mobile app with exactly the same data on it, you can now restrict that by basically unchecking the enable mobile access button. And it does say you will need to uncheck it. So I'm assuming by default on this new rollout, it is checked. And you're going
It
to have,
better be checked.
I would hope, otherwise everybody on the mobile app's not going is going to lose access to it.
What's the use
I
case
for
here?
the
What are you thinking? I
Are you trying to figure out why?
Yeah, I'm asking if you had not. It sounds like you were leading into you had some moment of realization and you figured out why they did this.
I have none.
No?
It's the
Okay.
craziest thing ever. It's like I don't have any idea why you would just want to disable mobile. I don't get it.
Well,
You
now you
know,
can.
now you can do it. So there's a feature that I don't know. Someone must ask for. That's the
Yeah.
craziest thing ever. Anyway, all right. And that's going to wrap up news. And with that, Tyler, let's get on to the implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so this is a pretty fun one here. JP on our team put this one together. I think working with Jordan to kind of scope out what we were going to do. So essentially, as the title would suggest, this is an integration between Zoho Recruit and WordPress to essentially post custom jobs pages automatically. So out of the box, right, the Zoho Recruit does come with like a careers page that you can just kind of host as like a subdomain on your site. So like jobs.zenatta.com, and it goes to this little microsite that Recruit builds for you. But let's say you are a hiring agency, right? Or you are some type of power user of Zoho Recruit. And you go, well, career site is good, but I want to change the formatting in a whole bunch of different ways. I want to add a lot more information to this. And you'll kind of bump into the upper limit of what you can customize in that career site. But obviously, with a WordPress page, you can do whatever you want, right? You can add any info, show it however you'd like, do more dynamic formatting. And so this is essentially a way to very easily get the data from a job opening that you've made in Recruit over to WordPress to actually be able to very quickly and easily build a page. So it does require 2 WordPress plugins. The first is Advanced Custom Fields, which we're actually using a lot internally and for some clients here. And then JP also chose to install the WordPress REST API authentication so that as he's sending data over, he can do it with a proper OAuth connection and not be just sending, unsecured data, right, via API over to the website. And so essentially what we can do is, using that custom field plugin, right, you can create a page that will be populated with data defined in that plugin, right? So job title, salary, roles and responsibilities, right? All these different types of things that you're going to have about every single job opening. And so once we created that template, built out the custom fields that's going to need to populate it, we went ahead and created a deluge function within Recruit that you can kind of just press a button and all the relevant data about that job opening will write itself over to WordPress to be used in a templated page. This is a really fun one. We've been kind of like toying around with Zoho to WordPress integrations for a little while. I think this is one of the first ones we've done for a client that just has this type of like immediate business impact. So huge shout out to the team for building this one out. But yeah, this is awesome. I mean, we might want to do this for ourselves, honestly, because you know, while the career site that Zoho Recruit posts for you is totally workable, you know, there's just certain look and feel things where it's not going to
Yeah.
look exactly like your website, right? And so again, for those kind of power users of Recruit, if you are that type of like recruiting agency type, you really want that brand consistency, look and feel consistency on every single page because it's the core thing that you do, right? Is you hire and then you place. So really, really cool integration here. And I'm sure I will have to keep a tally, right, of how many times we kind of use this custom fields tool to do this similar type of thing. You know, like
Well, so
you've talked
advanced
about it
custom
before,
fields,
Brett, like a real estate agent, right, who has a thing of properties and they can just press a button and it makes a page on their site for them with the list price and the goal sale date. And it's very
yeah.
cool. It just opens up a lot of doors doing stuff like this.
Yeah, and this whole advanced custom fields thing has opened up everything. The web team's super excited about this. I mean, we're actually doing a bunch of stuff with CRM to advance custom fields in WordPress now. So
Yeah.
if you aren't familiar with these, it kind of allows you to, you can set up some beautiful formatting. So, imagine you basically just have like a form that you're filling out and you put in, all of these, you put in the variables that go into that form, and then it just gives you a beautiful web page at the end of the day. And so we've got some stuff going in CRM where, you're building some things out, you've got it, and maybe you just check a box in that CRM record that says push it to WordPress, and it will update a WordPress page, create a WordPress page. There's a whole bunch of things that can be done around that. And it's really cool. This whole WordPress API we've been using and kind of the stuff going back and forth there. I'm excited about it because we've had a lot of people ask about this kind of stuff for a long time. And, there's also not really necessarily a portal, but there's been a lot of stuff in just where people have built out custom modules where they put in images and details and product descriptions. They have all these kind of things. And you kind of want to just create a PDF, if you would, or a little brochure out of this thing that you can display online, and you can do it with this stuff. I'm just really excited to see where this goes. So
Yeah.
cool stuff. Kudos, JP. Now, I imagine you had to work with, imagine you were working with Billy and Wayne and Freddie and everybody on
Right,
this.
and
So,
Jordan. We always call out the one developer, but it's always kind of a team effort, right? So obviously JP leading the charge, Jordan kind of running this client engagement, and the rest of
I
the
have a
team.
feeling Billy's in the background here somewhere. So anyway, it's just a great job. It's just cool stuff. I love these implementations when they're just so useful.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're a little esoteric, but this is like super useful stuff, man. So
yeah, exactly.
very, very, very cool. And with that, let's get on to head over to Club Zenatta and look at our code show, shall we? All right. Get email content from a desk ticket. Greg here. Basically, this is see parsing. This is basically parsing, right?
It's like
Kind of,
parsing, yeah. Essentially, if you
yeah.
want to run a function that reads the text of an email and looks for
Yep.
certain things, you might do this.
Yeah. This is really cool. You'd say, what would you want to do this for? Well, we use this all day long, very usefully. So we'll have Zoho sends us an email every time one of our clients adds a user, gets rid of a user, buys a new product, does something. They're kind of doing some self-serve. We get an email. And it's a lot of emails with hundreds and hundreds, thousands of clients actually, count all the free ones. And so people are changing things and adding things and doing things all the time to their accounts. And so it was just a mess of emails. I mean, I was just throwing them in a bucket, never have time to look at them, couldn't really do anything with them. So what we did is we set up a rule that when those emails come in, they get forwarded to Zoho Desk. We put them in a separate department. Greg parses them, and then he goes in, writes a click message and puts just a one line in click that says, Zenatta Consultant, because Zenatta Consulting has updated their users by 2, or they've downgraded by 1 user. And it kind of gives you that, XYZ company has done this. And so we have this little line item, very easy to read. You can keep up on what's going on. You don't have to parse through the emails. Super useful. That's just one use case for this.
Yeah.
I imagine there are dozens of others we've done for people.
Yeah, one that Greg kind of mentions here is like doing ticket assignment based on certain types of things, right? You might have a certain team that handles tickets about a certain type of product, right? And so you're reading through and looking for these identifiers to be able to assign things, right? Or notify people or escalate things. It's just kind of taking what you can do with your standard desk workflows and making them sensitive to the actual language and content of the original request. So, really cool stuff. Big shout
Fantastic.
out to Greg on that.
And if you don't know, if you head over to club.zenatta.com, that is our little community that we have set up for those people who love Zoho. We've got a general discussion forum. We have the code share forum. We've got the Q&A for CRM Zen Show forum. Matter of fact, we were reviewing the questions today. Got a ton of questions this week from over here on Club Zen. This is where people can go in. If you've got questions, you can ask them. Other people in the community will help answer. We'll jump in and answer. All the latest news from Zoho is also posted here in real time during the week. Anyway, we hope you really enjoy this community. We started at the beginning of the year. It's kind of getting a lot of traction. We're real happy with the engagement. I don't know what we're up to on a member basis here. Do we have any wings coming up here, Tyler? Let's go down the bottom.
462.
462. Getting close. 462 members. Oh, look down at the bottom. Mr. Kevin Flynn, Zoho super user, MVP. All right. And that is Club Zenatta. Thanks everybody so much for your support. And with that, let's get into our read of the week. All right. This article actually came out back in April of 2021, was updated May 17th, 2022. I just found it the other day. So, have a good friend of mine who is owns a winery. He had a brand new wine website built. It's beautiful. He's so happy about it. And then about 6, 8 weeks later, he got sued. And so this is a thing, especially if you're in California, there's some special laws around the ADA, which is the Americans with Disability Act. And if your website is not ADA compliant, it's going to cost you money. All a lawyer has to do is take a screenshot of the non-compliance, send it to you, and you're pretty much on the hook. Anywhere from 4 to 10 grand is the minimum you're going to get out of it. Personally, I think it's a complete and total scam, and the law needs to be readjusted. What does ADA mean? Every single one of your pictures has to be properly tagged, so that if a person, believe it or not, that has to be done for blind people, have to be able to have accessibility to your websites. You need to be able to hover over it and needs to be able to read the description of what is going on in that picture. If you have a audio on your website, you need to have a complete transcript of it for those that are hearing impaired. Yes, these are all good things, and I think they should be done anyway. But I think that the amount of money that is being fined and the fines that are being levied, because this law is in place. And I read the other day, Tyler, something like 98% of all websites are out of compliance. And lawyers being lawyers, they're going after this, man, and they're going after it in a big way. We do everything we can to keep our site in compliance, and there's a whole bunch here. So worth reading this article. It will help you. It gives you these plugins. It can help you bring your site into compliance. And I think it kind of talks a little bit about compliance and what you can do here. But man, you have, everybody's going to have
it.
Everybody's going to have to get here. It's the right thing to do. I just wish that the fines, the hammer on this, some small businesses are getting crushed.
From my understanding too, it's not like they give you a fix-it ticket where you've got, 60 days to come to compliance. Like you're out the money basically when they sue you and they've got the screenshots. So this is something that you should do ethically and monetarily. You must do. And, there's no reason not to do it. These plugins will help with it, of course, and so it's a good place to start, just to kind of run through and make sure that everything is up to snuff.
Yep. And these will get you there if you go through. I mean, you can get your site in compliance, and a big thing on this too is saying, "Hey, I've done everything I could to get in compliance. I've installed this application, and I've run this application, and I went through this, and here's the processes I went through." And I'm with you. I love you used that analogy with me a few weeks ago, the whole fix-it ticket part, right? It's not that you have a broken tail light and please have this fixed immediately. It's hey, you have broken tail light, pay me 10 grand. Right. Well, I didn't know my tail light was out. Well, too bad. It's out. Pay me 10 grand. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So I want to bring this up. This article's worth reading. More and more and more of this is happening. It's easy money for the lawyers. So make sure you get your site in compliance. And with that, let's head on over to Zenatta and take a look at what's going on over there. That read of the week was kind of a mini PSA, wasn't it there, Tyler?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. So Wayne was over in the UK this last week at Zoholics, and he got to meet with some people over there. Thanks so much for all of the Zoho team for making us feel welcome. And while he was there, by the way, he wanted to give a thanks to everybody that came by and gave shout outs to the CRM Zen Show and our videos and all of that. I guess it really made him feel welcome. And we had some really everybody had some good things to say about it. So it made us feel really good. Anyway, there are some things that are coming down the line. He kind of had to go through the slides, he was telling me, because it's kind of weird because Zoho will put a slide up and say, this is confidential. You can't share this. And then another slide will be up and it's not confidential. You can't share it. I often wondered about that when you're like, in a room of 2,000 people and you put a slide up and you say, this is confidential, don't share it. It seems like the word's out, but we're honoring that here. So basically some marketing tool improvements that are coming out. So, the Marketing Plus dashboard, some stuff you might want to look for coming down the pipe there as well. They got a sneak peek of the new Marketing Automation 2.0.
Awesome.
And he says that rather than competing product to campaigns, which has always it seems to be, he feels like it's going to be a complement now. Hopefully we are going to get it soon. He actually loved what he saw. So good stuff. So anyway, a few other things in here I think we're taking a look at. Some new applications. If 50 isn't enough, Zoho's going to be rolling out some other ones that will be coming down the line as well. So rather than talk to you all about them, just head on over to Zenatta.com, click on our blog. This is our latest blog, and find out what's coming down the pipe, at least at what was announced at Zoholics last week. And as always, if you're not familiar, Zenatta.com is where we house everything I think I talked about a little earlier. We've got our blog, we've got our resource guide, we've got our Zen show. There's so much. Head on over there and enjoy. I've got to get rid of this video. I can't stand seeing myself like this anymore.
You say it every time you see it.
I know. All right. And with that, let's get to our pick of the week. Got a little bit of a tie-in here, Tyler. So the pick of the week is WP accessibility. And WP accessibility is just a really nice application for making sure your site is ADA compliant. It does a lot of great things. I have installed this and set it up on a site that I have, and it does a great job. Goes through, checks everything, helps fix things, brings things compliant, tells you what you need to do, all those kind of things. It's good.
Nice thing about a plugin like this is that you might not know everything that you even need to do to be compliant. It's not always super obvious, like what the specifications are. So using something like this can at least put you on the right track, right? Where it's going to look for things and go, hey, did you know that you need, labels on every form field that read out? You'd go, well, now I do, right? But I might have not figured that out on my own. So it kind of does some of that initial research for you, and is definitely worth taking a look at for your own website.
Yeah, a nice little plugin. It is free, so no reason not to get it. It is actively being updated. It has got 4.8, I guess, if I was to do that math in my head there, stars, 4.7 stars. It's a good little application. I like it. I set it up and it's fantastic. So kind of on our theme here, if your site is not ADA compliant, if you haven't done anything to try to make it ADA compliant, go over. There's 9 other plugins on that on the HubSpot article. I tend to think this one is one of the better ones. Try it. If not, if you don't like this one, try some of the others, but at least make an effort to get your site up to ADA compliance. All right. And with that, let's head on over to our tip of the week. Huh, Tyler? Zoho Analytics Dashboard Publishing and Sharing. I'm assuming this is you.
Yeah, this one was me. This is actually, I think, a question that we got a couple times following our last Zoho Analytics webinar. Essentially just around how to actually get dashboards in front of people, right? And so you've done all these beautiful reports and charts and you've made your dashboards, but now you've got, C-suites and managers and directors and salespeople of all different types of tiers and access and needs. So I kind of run through like every different way to actually get a dashboard in front of someone, whether it's an email of a PDF, embedding it on a website, hosting it in the CRM via a little web tab, all those different options. So hopefully this will be helpful. Again, you always want to have the end in mind when you're making a dashboard, right? If you're going to spend the time to do one, well, who's going to see it, right? When are they going to see it? How do they want to look at it? Where are they going to look for it, right? And so you want to just have this stuff in mind as you are working, so that you're able to get it in front of the right people once you're done.
And as always, if you head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, that is where we keep all of our videos. We have videos, man. We're doing more and more and more, basically, 2-3 pieces of content every single week. It is quality content. Our team is super engaged. You guys are asking us for content. We're almost content on demand at this point in time.
This one
we're getting
was,
these.
yeah, we'll have to look back in a previous CRM Zen Show episode and make sure we send it, because there's a specific comment that asks this question: how do I get them out? So we'll have to go and make sure we send this over to them so that they can see it.
But it's great because we sit down at the beginning of the year and we kind of plot out all the content we're going to do for the year. And we think we have it all covered. But, it's great to hear from you guys. Like, man, if you could do a video on this, if you could explain how to do this, we're happy to do it. We're always looking for great ideas. And thank you so much for that. And with that, Tyler, let's get on into some question and answers. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Most of the time.
Man, we got a lot of questions today. So we're going to start with Glenn Long. What would be the purpose or reason to use creator task versus the built-in tasks in CRM? This is after watching how to link Zoho creator forms to Zoho CRM.
Yes.
Tyler, you've got an answer for one.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're looking to do with the tasks, right? So if your tasks are related to your sales process or checking in with customers or following up on an email, right? Just do those in CRM. You don't really need to do them over in Creator. The time when you're going to make a tasks module in Creator, there's a couple different times. So first and most direct would be, let's say you have people who aren't Zoho users, right? Let's say you've got a bunch of field service reps and you don't want to pay $40 a month to have them in CRM. It's totally reasonable, right? They're 1099s, they're out in the field. Maybe you spin up a quick little creator app that has jobs and tasks, right? And so now you can basically create and assign tasks to people that aren't full on Zoho users in your environment. We actually do all of our task management out of Zoho Creator as well. Now, that's not because these people are external users. They're actually all full, Zoho One users for us. But for us, we have a very particular workflow that tasks go through, right? So for us, most tasks are created while we're on a meeting with the client. When they're done, they go through a very particular approval process that does an embed of a Loom video now. Shout out to Josh for that one. It still shocks me every time I see it. So it just really depends on what your workflow is, right? Like our tasks go through a variety of different stages and escalations, and we have a whole notification system built around them. So you would look at doing it in Creator if you need something more than what's in CRM. But I would recommend start doing it in CRM first, because for most of your basic, like check in, follow up, send proposal, check in on invoice, like that's all just CRM stuff. You don't really need to spin up a Creator app for it.
Right.
I hope that answers
And
your question.
Yeah, I think the question we get asked more often than that around tasking is not, should I do them here? Should I do them there? But people are in individual apps, right? So they're in CRM and they create a task, and they're in Mail and they create a task, and they're in Desk and they create a task, and they're in Project and they create a task, and they're in Recruit and they create a task, and the tasks all live in separate places. And you can quasi roll those up with the new Tasks application, which gives you a unified view. But it's kind of it's a separate unified view across the whole thing. So, if you look at tasks.zoho.com, I think is the task application, but the task application does not tie into Creator because it doesn't know where to look. So it's not a specific app, and you can't bring that in. So whatever tasks you do in Creator aren't going to end up in the unified view over in Tasks as well. So anyway, all right. And with that, Nick asks, after watching Zoho Analytics full product tutorial 2022, can I please have some help creating a pivot table? I think it's in that, isn't it in there somewhere, Tyler?
Yeah, it should be in the video. I think he's looking specifically here for contact information for people at certain companies based in New York. Yeah, I think in that video, Nicholas, there's a walkthrough where I do one of accounts and deals. You should be able to pretty much copy what I did there, but pull like the contact first name, last name, and email instead. For something like this, everything would go into the rows section. You wouldn't need any data or columns. So you just drag them kind of one after another into rows. And then I guess when you go to create the pivot table, it'll be easiest to choose the accounts as your base module. And then on the left hand, you should be able to just pull on in the related contact information.
All right. And moving on here. Renell says, greetings. After watching Zoho Subscriptions Full Product Tutorial 2021, is it possible to utilize subscriptions that expire after X billing cycle to basically set up a split payment plan? For example, split $200 payment into 4 monthly or biweekly payments and end it. Yes, yeah, absolutely. You can create a product that says, I'm going to bill you X number of dollars at these intervals for X number of times, and then it stops. So you could easily do that. You could also set up a recurring billing, right? Recurring invoice that could do that, that could end. But it's very possible to do that with Zoho subscriptions. You also can do it with checkout, can't you?
Don't use checkout. Never use checkout.
But you could do it with checkout. Checkout just needs to kind of be merged into subscriptions.
It should just be a little. It should be a little tab in books or something.
Yeah, something. Anyway. All right. Hey, Renell, you got another question? Don't worry. We appreciate all your questions. No, never apologize. You watched the Zoho Campaigns Full Product Tutorial 2022. How can I sync the scoring in campaigns to my CRM contacts? Do I need to do a custom workflow? Thanks in advance. You say it's a little checkbox,
right? It's like hidden on the campaign scoring rules page. You have to map it to a particular field. Honestly, this would be a pretty good opportunity for a little video. This is one of those examples of where someone throws out a question, and it's a perfect video because I can guarantee you, Ray, you're not the only one who hasn't been able to find this little thing. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but I think it's a part of your scoring rules section under like the contacts, or you need to map it in the CRM integration section. I don't know if anyone on our team knows off the top of their head and can drop it in chat, but it's 2 steps, right? You set up all the scoring. You need to add a field in CRM to capture it, and then you need to map that score back to the field. So you're not doing anything crazy there. It's just hidden, basically, on where to do this.
All right. The next question. Jose asks, after watching the Zoho Analytics Dashboard Publishing and Share Settings 2022, how can you make a dashboard with data from CRM, books, and more apps? Tyler, isn't that there?
Yeah, so you got to set up your workspace, right? So this gets into like your very initial setup of Zoho Analytics. So you want to have one workspace. So if I'm starting with an empty Zoho Analytics, the first thing I always do is I pull in CRM and I have that create my initial workspace. It'll call it Zoho CRM Reports. I rename it right away to primary workspace. Then in that particular workspace, so not creating a new one, I'll go down to data sources and add data sources for books, desk, projects, right? Any of those applications. Now, most of them are going to contain like reference IDs, right? So like you could actually take a books invoice, link it to the books customer, which links to the CRM account. So a lot of these reports, they're actually going to blend the data for you natively. Sometimes you'll need to use a SQL table. Like we had a client who wanted all time logs, whether they were in desk or projects. They just wanted one report of all of those by person. So sometimes you'll need a little bit of SQL to kind of blend or do custom joins on the data. But the first trick, Jose, is just to make sure that you've got one workspace and all the data sources point there. Then you'll at least have it to try to create any reports you're looking for.
Or just hire Tyler to do it for you. All right. And then JBZ. Love your new album, JB. Keep up the good work there. After watching Creating a Webhook with Zoho Flow 2022. Hi. Do you have a reference where I can find a tutorial on how to connect Zoho CRM to an already existing WordPress form so that every submission from the form is automatically saved in the CRM? I don't need to keep reading. Drew did there is an entire video on this, right?
Yeah,
Jordan.
Jordan did a full video. I think it covers definitely Zoho Forms, Gravity Forms, and one other, but it should be very similar for pretty much any form tool that you're using. So I would take a look at that one and see if it gets the question answered for you. Maybe we could give him a link in the comments when we
and you can if you're a WordPress, use Zoho Forms or use Gravity Forms. I mean, you should have no problem. But anyway, there's a whole tutorial on WordPress and the various forms and how they link to CRM. So you can check that out, JBZ. And then Beat Z. Love your new album too, Beat Z. Little East Coast, West Coast thing going on here, Tyler. Anyway, from Club Z, Beat Z asks, hey, I watched the Zoho Mail full product tutorial 2021 and searched other resources, but handling email seems to have an issue one way or another. And then he talks about Zoho Desk. He thought that would be good for all incoming mails. Also personal email addresses, not just support emails, but he has issues sending emails. There's a bit of confusion here, Beat Z. Desk is not for emailing. Desk is specifically...
It's not a mail client. It's a ticketing system.
Right. It really is. And I don't think you want to use it for that. And, Tyler, we were talking earlier. We did a webinar on our full product tutorial for Zoho Mail. I use Zoho Mail. I use it, through IMAP. Most of our company is just using Gmail. Zoho Mail sits in our maybe category. It can be fine for companies with light emailing and those kind of things. I mean, we personally find that in a lot of cases, maybe you're happy with another email client. And another email server or service more than anything else. But the biggest thing with Zoho Mail, I like it a lot. I still think Calendar is missing a ton. I still think Zoho Calendar is missing a ton of integrations. And that is where it kind of all just falls apart for me. And you kind of mentioned this in here with, Calendar containing all those kind of things. And so it might not be for you. So if you're an Outlook user and that was working for you, then maybe you go back that direction. If you're a Gmail user, do that. But there are a lot of people that absolutely love Zoho Mail and it works for them. But Desk should not be used as a personal email client.
No.
Anything you'd add to that, Tyler?
No, I think you nailed it there.
No, but still, Beat Z, great album. Keep it going, man. It's good stuff. I really like the way he has grown over the years as an artist.
Yeah.
It's really, there's a lot going on there. All right. Steve Sandor asked, after I created a form in the builder with the advanced fields Zoho CRM email option to pre-populate the form mapped to the CRM first and last names and email. I integrated the CRM and form fields using the update record function. It worked fine with one form, and I created a second, same functionality, and it doesn't work. Is there a maximum number of times you can use Zoho CRM advanced fields and forms? I understand you can only use Zoho CRM once per form. Can you parse that, Tyler?
I'm assuming you're working with Zoho Forms. There isn't a limit on how many forms you can add the CRM advanced field to. The one trick with the CRM advanced field is that it only works when you access it via the internal link to the form that you would give to a user of Zoho Forms that you've shared it with. If you're looking at the external link, you want to embed it on your website, the CRM lookup does not work. Because whoever would be viewing it on the website is not a logged in user who would have permissions to view CRM. So they actually disable it in that case. So it could be that you looked at it from two different types of links, and that's why one of them was working and one wasn't. Otherwise, if you were using the internal link for both of them, it would be some type of bug that you'd want to put on Zoho's radar, because there's not a limit to how many forms can use those advanced fields.
All right. Is that it?
We got one more.
Karen asks from on board Club Z, copy customization feature. We read this one earlier. So basically, I'm going to summarize this. It's a very long question, but if you're unfamiliar, Zoho has a feature called copy customization. It is for CRM. If you have Zoho 1, you'll still get it. But what it does is let's say you've completely customized out a CRM, you've got fields, you've done all various things, you'd like to make a clone of that. Maybe most times we see this, it's someone actually being very, very nice, right? It's like, I'm in this business and I built this up and I've got all customized, and they're just doing someone else's solid, making a clone of it. It doesn't copy any data over, but it does copy certain things from the CRM over that require a lot of heavy lifting. One of the things that Karen has done here is she has created a whole bunch of CRM forms. She's 50 of them that she's created. And when she does the copy customization, they do not come over, and she's having to copy and paste the code behind each one of them to copy it over. And Tyler, there are a whole bunch of things that when you do a copy customization don't come over, and it turns out that Zoho CRM forms are one of those, huh?
Yep, they are unfortunately in the no column, Karen. So as of right now, they're just not supported as part of copy customization. A few others that stood out that aren't are any autoresponders, any dashboards, any scheduled reports, a couple things like that. So while it does bring over most of what you have, it does not bring over the web forms. I don't really know why. It seems like something that could be copied over, but unfortunately, it's just not supported right now.
Yeah. All righty, Tyler. With that, we're going to wrap it up. Wow, 57 minutes. Good show.
A long one.
Good show.
Jeez.
Yeah, good show. Great week. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you have any questions that you want to ask Tyler and I, just head over to club.zenatta.com and go into that form about Club Z, put the questions in, and we will answer them next week on our show. And if you want to talk to Tyler and I, book an appointment with us to discuss your Zoho project, just head over to zenatta.com. You can drop us a line there.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Shout out to Bleed Z. Everybody, have
We
a
call
great week,
no
everybody.
then he pivoted.
Oh, man. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.